So, good morning, conscious activists or conscivists. This was going to be a slightly longer video, but I've decided to break it into three. If you haven't already downloaded or had a look at this form that I put in the group yesterday, this might be a little bit lost on you. You can still get it. It's in a previous post, or you'll find it in the sidebar with the other documents that have been posted in the group. And if at any time you want to come back and get any of the other videos or documents or anything like that, then you'll find those all listed at the side. So as they add up, you can go directly to them. So I just want to explain a little bit about parts. My recent work really focuses on not trying to get rid of something we don't like because it has a purpose. And I know there are lots of theories and practices that do recognize this, but for me it's become really fundamental in being able to appreciate yourself and appreciate the way you are in the world and be able to grow from that. And change is scary, and there are parts of us that resist change and try to keep us within the boundaries of what we know to keep us safe. But growth is inevitable, and growth is a better way of looking at change. So one of the reasons parts resist our growth is because of that change, because it's something different, and anything different is a potential threat. So we hold information with our parts. Parts protect us, they kind of split off and hold information. And if we have a frozen part, if we have a part of us that is not in alignment with our general desire to want to change something or begin something or stop something or do something, then it will hold on to its truth and its reality as it knows it. But unfortunately that part is stuck in time and space in an event that happened previously. And since then you have evolved, but the part is still stuck because the event that they were involved in is still for them incomplete. So they're going to use and adopt the strategies that they know that worked and got them through at that time, but still yet didn't complete that event. So most trauma work is really about evolving that part that's stuck. And certainly the somatic work that I'm training in is about going in through those somatic markers and understanding how that body has recorded, and every part of us, our system, has recorded all of that information that happened at the time and all of the information of what we did at the time. So it stands to reason that when we have something new we want to do, or when we have something old we want to let go of, there may be a part of us that has a very good reason for that change not to happen. So the first thing I want to do is really help to elicit where those parts are. Now in Emotional Freedom Techniques, in EFT, we talk about tail enders. They're the bits of your subconscious that when you say, oh, I'm beautiful, and you try to do your affirmation, they're the bit that say, yeah, but look at your nose, or yeah, but whatever. Those are the kind of voice of that tail ender, and we need to pay attention to how they are because of where they got stuck. Usually they're very childlike voices. Instead of saying, well, I don't want to do that because I don't want to let people down, which is the adult version of something, the little voice inside is saying, yeah, but they won't like me, but they won't like me. And that's a more childlike version because of when that experience happened. And sometimes we have pre-verbal and even experiences that are passed down to us that are prior our birth. So we need to be able to allow those parts to be there. Instead of letting it go, we need to just let it be and be with what comes up. So I've tried to make a really simple form that allows us to do that. And of course, as soon as you start trying to pin that down, it becomes quite complicated. And it becomes very inhibiting. So this form is by no means the way to get in touch with our parts. It's by no means the be all and end all. It was just something I put together yesterday to buy us some space with breathing and some gentle tapping on just one point, to allow us to connect with some information to come from a place that is beyond our conscious awareness. Okay, and then eventually we want to really connect our subconscious and our conscious mind into a super conscious system that allows for full awareness and evolution and integration. So we'll go through this part solicitation. If you have another way of doing it, if this takes you somewhere else, if this doesn't work for you, that's obviously absolutely fine. But the next short video will be to take whatever comes up. We're looking for where is some resistance, and I'll talk tomorrow about when we introduce the setup for EFT, or in traditional Gary Craig's EFT Emotional Freedom Techniques, where we have the even though, and I completely and utterly do not use the expressions about loving and accepting myself. I will introduce you to some what I believe are safer and more integrative ways of talking about parts, about just recognizing that I have this part and that that's okay right now. So, hi everybody, and hi Carl. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. I'll talk about why I think EFT works and why it's an important process, and I'll talk about what I think the setup can do for us, and what resistance is. Okay, resistance is a highly intelligent part of our processing that allows us to stay safe and stay protected. The most important thing is to recognize what it's doing for us and what it's giving us. Okay, because that part there, or if you do Carl Dawson's matrix reimprinting, we could talk about echoes. That part is holding vital information for you, but it also has resources, and it has skills that you've been adopting and using until now to be able to stay safe. And we don't want to lose those either. Okay, we want to integrate those. We want those to be an updated and integral part of you. So every part that we have, we're really bringing it back together into being more whole. Okay, and this is kind of soul retrieval, and shamanic soul retrieval is really based on that. It's about recognizing the parts that split off and the parts that actually we can bring back into alignment. So the process that I'll talk you through with this form is kind of a very simplistic way of doing it. And like I say, if it doesn't work for you, that's absolutely fine. I've only been through it once myself. I tried to put together a simple way to do what I've been doing for myself over the last few weeks about the book, and these two polarities and these two parts that I've been having. Let's see if this works. Okay, so we're going to really start with just a basic breathing and the ABC of, now it's been heart conscious breathing, but as I write the book, I'm trying very hard to find a term that I think is going to last. And because I talk about into alignment, I'm going to try and stick with heart alignment breathing. Your feedback on that is very welcome. So we just do the ABC. Okay, first is attention to the heart area. And if you want to use your hand to anchor that, then please do. So A is attention to the heart area. And B is to breathe in and out of the heart area. And to time that rather than count, just say to yourself, I'm breathing into my heart, I'm breathing out of my heart. And just say into your mind, I'm breathing into my heart, I'm breathing out of my heart, I'm breathing into my heart, I'm breathing out of my heart. And as you keep doing that, the purpose of this is to regulate your breath. And ignoring the dog that's tried to get into my office. Breathing into your heart. And breathing out. Breathing into your heart. Now see, we are just going to, as you do that, connect to a feeling of presence. So I really just want you to feel your feet on the floor or wherever they are. Feel your back in the seat. Feel your shoulders relax. feel wherever your hands are resting, breathing into your heart and breathing out of your heart. Breathing into your heart and breathing out. And just allow yourself to feel your shoulders, feel your back, feel how your breathing is beginning to rest and regulate. Now, in the previous video we talked about having something that you would like to do, a goal or a state you'd like to achieve. You may have already made a note of that. But if you haven't, I just want you to focus on what is that goal or that state that you have been finding difficult to achieve. So, for example, mine that I'm still working on is I want to consistently, regularly write for 2 hours, very early in the morning. And I manage it for a few days, but then I just don't. And there are 101 reasons, but there is something going on that says, yeah, well, not today. And I find something else to do. So that's what I'd like to be able to do consistently. Get to my desk and be specific, sit at my desk and write for about 2 hours. See, I've even already started about 2 hours. Before that I said 2 hours. Just start to pay attention now. To at least 2 hours. Okay. We're just going to breathe with that. Just notice any thoughts, comments, physiological responses. You can make a note of all of that. Just notice. And just saying it back to yourself. So as I say to myself, I want to sit and write consistently, uninterrupted, consistently for at least 2 hours early, 6 till 8. Well, realistically, if I start at 5:30, by the time I'm ready it's probably 6:30 till 8:30, but that still feels okay. But 6:30 till 8:30 feels more realistic. Okay, so that's me defining what I would like to achieve. Okay, breathing in, breathing out. Notice your language, because the language that comes up may be a particular type of part, and notice the language that tail enders that follows on may be a very different type of language. And the reason we're breathing and we're doing this is because we want to allow the truth and the honesty to come out. We don't want you to get back in the way and say, yeah, but, and then gloss over those smaller, quieter voices. Those voices that at the moment have their kind of hand on the tiller and are steering you away from your goal. We want to kind of learn to work with them. And in the book I write a bit about tacking. We're going to kind of tack. Maybe it might be going away slightly, but we're still heading in the general direction. We maybe miss the mark going back the other way, but we're going to kind of start to get to know those parts. One part that pulls us one way, the other part that's trying to pull us in the direction of our goal, and then the other part and the other part. And we're going to try and begin to get them to work together, or to at least recognize how they are actually pulling us in the right direction for our greater good. We just need to understand them better. So as we're breathing in and breathing out. So thinking about your statement, and in my head I'm thinking about my statement. Can you imagine yourself doing it? Can you actually feel or sense you in that goal, achieving that goal, achieving that state, knowing what that looks like or feels like or smells or tastes like or sounds like? I want you to start tapping, and if you find your collarbone, you can do either collarbone to move along the side. You can just drop down into that slight dimple under the edge, and I just want you to start tapping, maybe on one or other, or cross over on one point. This is the kidney point, and it is literally just under the edge of your collarbone, kind of part way along. Still breathing into the heart and breathing out of the heart. Breathing into the heart and breathing out of the heart. Gently, still breathing. And we're going to ask ourselves these questions, and I'm just going to read them very clearly and not interfere now with my thoughts. Okay, I'm going to say the question to you, or say the statement to you, and whatever comes up for you, make a note. Okay? So when you think about your desired state or goal, thinking about that desired goal or state. When I achieve this, I will be. Just make a note. When I achieve this, I will have. When I achieve this, I will be able to. I'm still thinking about that goal. Just making a note of what came up there. We're going to do the next row. When I achieve this, I will not be. When I achieve this, I will not have. When I achieve this, I will not be able to. Good. Now we're going to take that last one, I will not be able to, and you can come back to anything else that came out there. And please feel free to post anything and ask any questions. Just taking that, I will not be able to. So when I achieve this, I will not be able to. I'm starting to listen to that part that is saying that. That part that has a good intention, that part that has a reason to say that. That's what we're interested in. What does this part have to share? What vital information does this part have? So the next point is, I will not be able to, because this part of me believes. Just listen to that, what that part has to say. What does this part believe? I will not be able to, because this part of me believes. Okay, good. And now quite quickly, and this part of me believes that because. Just write what comes up. And now staying with this second statement, second belief, And it believes that because what's behind that? And it believes that second belief because so it's like a chain reaction. What came before, what came before, what came before, and now again. And it believes that we've just come up with because of, just make a note, whatever comes up. Now you can keep breathing and you can keep tapping. And the next thing I want you to do in your own time is to spend just a few minutes going through what came up, and seeing if you can connect with that part and notice what you believe that part needs as a result of that information, as a result of understanding those beliefs. What is this part communicating to you that it needs right now? So the part that is resistant to your goals or to your desired state, what is that part telling you that it needs? And once you've done that, you can fill in the part. What is the part of me that desires the change need? Okay, something is going on that part of you does want that change. So let's see if you can define more about what the part of you needs. Now normally I would do a part solicitation by actually asking the part of you that's holding that to step out. Okay? That is my usual process, and we can do that. We can focus on the part of you that has been bringing up the resistance and just invite that part to step out in front. And while still breathing, you can allow that connection from the top of the head up into that universal energy, that source energy. Let that flow, let that come down, connecting in the heart, aligning the heart. And you can connect heart to the part, sending appreciation, validation, just connecting with them and allowing for them to be able to connect and become more connected themselves. Because remember, in that freeze movement, they kind of encapsulated that event and all that information, and we want to be able to start to allow them to feel more connected, more internally resourced. Okay? We don't go into story, we don't go into the event, we go into the energy of what happened in the freeze where they became separated. And that connection from heart into the heart of that part allows for that to begin to heal. So if you want to try that first part of the process by doing that, connecting in and letting that information come, then that might be a good way for you to define more detail of the resistance to that need. And when you've done that part, invite the part out that is interested, excited, and desires that change. Ask them to step out and connect heart to heart and ask that part, what is it that they need? Now this is more of a conscious awareness. Normally I would work with just by doing that, and we work with those parts. But I want to demonstrate with this how we can use this information to do some duality tapping, and tapping on one part of us that believes one thing and one part of us that believes another. Okay? And the whole purpose of that is how we can be okay with that, how we don't have to push or change. So the next step is tomorrow I'll introduce my views about why tapping works, why it's a really important tool, and how that might fit with your sort of psychological views, your energetic views, your somatic views, and we will do some basic tapping on the fact that we have these parts, and then the next technique, the next video, we will do the specific duality tapping when we've defined these parts more. We don't want to rush to fix, we want to understand so that we can reintegrate. We want to understand all of those amazing skills and resources that those parts already have through the way that they've been handling those responses that they had to do. Okay? In that process, we will evolve where those parts are stuck, and we will evolve where they're holding information that is outdated, and we will update that information, and we will update those old beliefs that got frozen in time and space. And in doing that, we actually move the information from the amygdala, where it's stuck in time and space and not able to be put into the past where the event happened. And as we evolve that understanding and the meaning through purely working with the present moment and where that part is and where they're holding that now, so we're staying in the present, we're not going into a memory. By holding that part with us, we will be able to evolve that. Okay, and I will say at this point, not just because Carl's joined the group, but if the memory is so strong that you can't keep out of the memory, or that you have the memory that you need to deal with, then there are other techniques that I would recommend. And matrix re-imprinting is a safe way of dealing with a very, very fixed memory that I would say is a better way of doing that. My process is about keeping you present and keeping the parts or the echoes or the aspects or whatever you want to call them, those encapsulated frozen parts of you that are obviously with you now because you're reacting with them, and they are taking over the way that you respond. They are stepping in and saying, no, this is the way it is because this is what I know. Okay, so they are a part of you, but they are a slightly separated part of you, a split part, and we are going to reintegrate those parts, and we're going to do it by actually accepting, acknowledging, validating, and then evolving that part's connection, not what happened to them, but the connection that they lost. Okay, so allow your part to be there, and allow that part to give you that information. Elicit that information as you would a small child, talking to a small child, with love and tenderness and kindness, listening, giving full attention. Okay, that's what is needed. That is what this part has not had yet. Okay, and they are stuck in time and space in a loop trying to complete something. So this part is obviously speaking up. It has something to say and something to do to protect you. It's now time that we pay attention to that part. So doing the breathing keeps you present, and then allowing that part to just be there with you, and recognizing, validating, appreciating, feeling a sense of love and gratitude, and we use the heart breathing to do that. Okay, so make your notes, post your comments below, and we will go on to the next. I'm trying to keep them to half an hour. Okay, we will go on to the next video tomorrow, but I'm very happy to answer comments and to offer any help and support between now and then as we go forward. Okay, so carry on posting your comments, and in the other video about your desired states and your kind of dualities, your parts of you that are not letting you do that, and I will try to kind of cover those in the next couple of videos. Okay, good luck. If you get stuck or you need to ask anything or you find a better way of doing this, please of course do that. Okay, bye for now.